Welcome back to another segment of The Wandering Eye. Today's segment, I just wanted to show y'all my book collection. So, since we've been in quarantine, I just been going ham trying to build my library up. So, I'm gonna do a little book haul, quarantine edition, and pretty much just show you the books that I've been copping lately. And I'm gonna show you the books that I got so far in my library and how to start a library to even begin with. A lot of people be asking me what books I'll be reading to educate myself or what I'll be looking up to educate myself. And it's a lot. I don't have any particular box that I put myself in. I don't believe that you shouldn't be able to adopt all knowledge into your repertoire. It's kind of stupid to put yourself in a box like that, and it just stops yourself from gaining more knowledge. The ability to read and obtain knowledge through books is essential to building knowledge that you have in order to go off of. There's a reason why slaves were banned in reading and writing. You know, everything you need to know is in these books. You don't need a piece of paper from a college to tell you that you're intelligent or validate yourself. All you gotta do is dive into these books, because the same books that they read at these institutions, you can copy them yourself and you can read yourself as well. You just gotta apply yourself and be dedicated to the time, because reading books does take time, it does take patience, and you know, it's not easy to stick to something such as reading books when you have phones and technology all in your ear and your face, over the airways, playing everywhere. You know, it's just crazy. But without further ado, the first book, and this is the book I actually just started reading, is Christianity Before Christ. I'll probably put the book next to me so you guys can see it as well. You can kind of see who the author is and get a better idea of it than me just picking up and showing you. The reason I started to get into books like these is because I just wanted to know what was before what I'm being taught. Every time the discussion of religion gets brought up, people always base it off of the 4,000 to 6,000 year point that society existed, which is the years that they're giving to you based on the rulership of white people. That's not the accurate timeline of our history. The earth is over 4 billion years old, like 4.6 billion years old. There's proof that humans been here for millions of years. So the history goes very deep. It's just a lot of stuff was lost along the way when Europeans or the Pale Arabs came in and started burning books and burning knowledge, and natural disasters that occur wipe away stuff. It's hard to preserve knowledge for hundreds of thousands of years. But that's what I'm into. I try to search for stuff that predates the information given to us, because it just allows us to know that there is so much more history than what we're reading. And the fact that people just blindly will follow something and not research where their belief got its origin from is a problem in today's society, and it needs to be fixed. But it's not necessarily my job to try to convert people. I don't believe in doing that. I just try to present the information, and if you want to take it, you can take it. If you don't, live your truth. The next book is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I consider myself a spiritual entity. I move off the universe. I speak and pray with my ancestors, pray to my ancestors, ask for guidance from my ancestors, those who have, you know, been here before and who have seen the ropes and are still watching over me. You can go outside and look up at the stars, look up at the moon, look at the celestial bodies, and you could feel a particular energy that is there that I don't get if I'm, you know what I'm saying, on my knees or praying to a fictitious entity. The next book is The African Origin of Civilization. So the biggest debate really is, where did we all come from, or where did we originate from? A lot of people in the black community especially will throw a lot of divisive information out there to try to divide us as melanated people, but the fact still remains that we all originated out of Africa. There's African influence in every continent of the world, and there are so many countries in Africa that it's not surprising. The technology was far in advance than we could ever even imagine. We're not even scratching the surface of what they were really doing hundreds of thousands of years ago. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Like, okay, why is it that there's so many similarities here or in South America or Mexico that there was in Africa or there was in Asia or whatever the case may be, the islands? So our influence is everywhere, and I just kind of want to get into that knowledge so I can help spread that knowledge to my peers and those who are willing to listen. My next book that I'll show you is Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust. So, if you don't know, Christopher Columbus did not discover America. That should be a known fact by now. It's 2020. We have Google at our fingertips. We should know that he actually never stepped foot into America. I was actually one of the books that I read a couple years ago when I was in my spiritual awakening phase, which I'm still am. We don't ever just stop. We're always growing. But was They Came Before Columbus. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that book kind of gets into it, and I just wanted to find another book to give me more information. And it also is going to talk about slavery and the rise of European capitalism. Excuse me. So that should be an interesting read to get into. And again, I'm gonna put these books on the side so you can kind of see. And if you want to stop and write it down or whatever the case may be, feel free. The next book is Stolen Legacy. So obviously, you see the cover, you see the title. You know that they took our information that we taught them, and they flipped it, and they taught it to the new generation as if they're the originators of the information that was taught to them. So now we're in the school system being taught about all these Europeans and these Greeks and these Romans, and when in actuality they were being taught by those in ancient Africa. And many of the ancient texts of Greece and Rome and stuff will actually give praise to the Africans that taught them the information and the knowledge of the world, whether that be in mathematics, astrology, whatever the case may be. All the information they knew, we taught them. They flipped it, and now they turned it into where it's taboo to look into Africa for information in the black community. So we rather trust the Greeks and the Romans than we would the Africans who was giving us the information, which is sad to think about. But to move on, again, Pagan Origins of the Christ myth. We must understand in 2020 that knowledge is accessible at our fingertips. You can Google Pagan Origins of the religion you believe. You can Google the pagan origins of the holidays that you celebrate. I'm just trying to go deeper into that. So I'm not going to get into it on this one because I'm just trying to show the books, but it's a lot of different stuff that was put into this melting pot of control through dogma. And again, like I always say, I'm just trying to get back to the origins of it so I know where it started from, because I'd rather hear it from the source than hear it from secondhand information. And a lot of people are too okay with listening to secondhand, thirdhand, fourthhand information than they are trying to hear the original source. It's kind of like the game in the classroom that we used to play, where we'll all get in the line or whatever, get around the desk, and the teacher will write information on a piece of paper and have that person go whisper into the ear, and it just goes down the line of everybody. And by the end, we see how much that changed. So imagine the thousands of years that has gone by, and the misinterpretations, the misleading, the misguidance of this information. I don't even want to look towards that. I'd rather look towards the original source and get the information that way. The next book is The Emerald Tablets. So, Forbidden Knowledge on Instagram actually was my inspiration for even looking for the Emerald Tablets. I might just copy his book that he has, which is like 700 pages or whatever the case may be, but this is just probably like a quick little synopsis of what's going on, and it just interested me, so I just wanted to check it out and see what it's talking about. Again, I don't ever turn down no knowledge. If it soothes my soul, then I'll adopt that into my repertoire, and you feel me, formulate new ways of teaching and new ways of understanding, because life is all about growth. If you stay the same, you're losing. So if you think you got it all figured out, you're losing. If you think it's your way or the highway, you're losing. So next book is going to be Melanin, What Makes Black People Black. Not enough black people are really talking about the strength and the importance of having this melanin in our skin. To just make it brief, we're the chosen ones. We're the children of the sun. You know, we get fed from the sun, feeds our melanin. That's why every day you need to go out and get at least bare minimum 30 minutes of sun every day. Feed that melanin kings, feed that melanin queens. You know what I'm saying? It'll make you feel 10 times better. Those who lack melanin are being destroyed by the sun. So that just lets you know right there. The next book and the last book that I've gotten so far, again, I'm ordering more books. Who knows when this quarantine stuff is going to end, or this lockdown stuff, or pandemic, whatever this is that's going on in 2020, we don't know when it's going to end. So by the time I get up out of here, oh, actually, I got one more book right here, boom. So this book is The 5 Negro Presidents. So I just seen this, and I said, let me just copy it and see what it's talking about. I haven't read it yet. It's only like 15, 20 pages. 15 pages. But I'm assuming it's going to go into the 5 presidents that either had slaves that they raped and created a bloodline from that, or they had some type of African blood within them. So that should be a good read. This is actually my last and final book, and this is very important for what's going on today in society. And the reason I needed to get this book is because I be trying to tell people all the time, particularly the older crowd that is stuck in their ways, stuck in their mindset. You gotta open your mind up. You can't be so easily trusting of these people that's in power. You can't trust these politicians. Can't trust nobody in your government. Can't even trust these police officers out here. Regardless whether or not you're a good cop or a bad cop, whatever, a cop period. If you roll by me, I'm not trusting you. It's just that simple. So I don't trust politicians. I don't trust the government. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust none of that because I've seen too much. I've seen too many documentaries. I've read too many books to just be willingly giving my trust away to people. I don't even do that in my regular life with people I know. So for somebody I don't know, it's going to be tough to get my trust. But this book, Shadowland, as you can see, Clinton, Epstein, Obama, Trump, Biden's in here, talking about the elites, Clintons, the deep state, all of that. So this book is actually not that long. It's only 300 some odd pages, so that's like a week's worth of reading right there, if that, if I'm not really trying to read it. But again, you got to know your environment. You got to be self-aware. You got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to know who's talking to you. You got to know who's in charge of what, because it'll help you formulate a better idea of how to go about maneuvering everyday society, especially being black. We're not given a leg up at all. We're not even giving half up. We're not even getting a knee up, an ankle up, a toe up. You know what I'm saying? We started so far behind and we so far out of tune with the game. and we're so far out of tune with ourselves, and we're so far out of tune with nature, and we can't even call on our ancestors to help us out because our ancestors be throwing us signs left and right, and we just be blocking all the signs that the ancestors be trying to throw us. So you just got to get into these books. You got to get into the knowledge, and wrap yourself with new information. That you can never have too much knowledge. And if anything tells you that too much knowledge is bad for you, then you don't need to be reading that book. And you know what book I'm talking about. So that's gonna be that for the book haul. I'm gonna be doing my library on the next video. I'm gonna just do part 1, part 2, so it's not super long. But thank you for tuning into the book haul. If there's any book recommendations that you can give me, please feel free. Drop a comment down below. Hit the notification bell, like, subscribe, share. My subscribers have been going up, my views been going up, so I appreciate everybody who's tuning in. I love y'all, and I'll catch you next video.